This is Jackman, and this is Timmy. Today, they're in a bit of a disagreement about steroids. When asked if steroids are always bad, Tim said,
Always. Of course, it's terrible. It's always bad.
but Jack said, never. It's always great.
Well, who is right? No fear when Miss Heisenberg is here. In order to answer this question and determine who is right, first we must understand what steroids are. To educate ourselves more about the real chemistry of steroids, we should make a visit to the great Durage's School of Chemistry. Steroids are a family of lipid molecules. The steroid core structure is composed of 17 carbon atoms, bonded in 4 fused rings, making it tetracyclic. 3 of these 4 rings are composed of 6 carbons or cyclohexane, while the 4th ring consists of 5 carbons or cyclopeptane.
Ew, who'd want that in their body?
Actually, all of us. We all have steroids in our body. Naturally, our body produces and maintains an approximate level of 2 very different kinds of steroids based on a person's gender, age, genetics, exercising habits, and many other factors. These 2 types of steroids are corticosteroids and androgenic anabolic steroids. Let's learn examples. Corticosteroids are hormones produced by our adrenal glands down in our kidneys, and they're responsible for things like immune functions and stress response and controlling inflammation. Cortisol is an example of a corticosteroid. Cortisol has methyl groups, 2 ketone groups, and most importantly, 3 hydroxyl groups. Due to the hydroxyl groups, the dominant intermolecular force in cortisol is hydrogen bonds, which occurs when the hydrogen atom is bonded to a fluorine, nitrogen, or oxygen atom. This strong IMF is responsible for cortisol's high boiling point of 220 degrees Celsius, allowing it to exist in solid form in room temperature. Cortisol molecule consists of very few chemically reactive areas along the carbon-carbon single bonds and the carbon-hydrogen single bonds. Therefore, cortisol acts more like a chemical key than a chemical reagent, and binding to receptors, it causes organs to secrete products or engage in particular activities for which the hormone is a necessary initiator. The other kind of steroids is androgenic anabolic steroids, such as testosterone, which is primarily responsible for male sex characteristics. Once again, the body naturally produces and maintains an appropriate level of testosterone. Testosterone also has methyl groups, a ketone group, and most importantly, a hydroxyl group. Due to this hydroxyl group on the 17th carbon, the dominant intermolecular force in testosterone is also hydrogen bond or H bond. This strong IMF is responsible for testosterone's high boiling point of approximately 155 degrees Celsius, allowing it to exist in solid form in room temperature. Furthermore, through the esterification of testosterone, which is basically a substitution of an acid group for the hydroxyl group, the water solubility of the molecule is lowered and its lipid solubility is increased, permitting a sterile oil-based injectable to form a depot in the muscle from which it is gradually released. Similar to cortisol, chemically, testosterone is very stable. However, it's also a known carcinogen, so large amounts of it can cause cancer. Anabolic steroids are delivered to the nucleus of the cells where they stimulate anabolism, the synthesis of proteins, and eventually new muscle fibers. When synthetic versions of these steroids are illegally abused by athletes, the combination of the steroids and exercise can increase a person's strength, by up to 38%. So you can see anabolic steroids are very efficient.
Told ya, steroids are good.
Not so fast, Jack. It's not necessarily always good.
Yeah, did you miss the part about it being cancerous and illegal?
But we make it in our body.
Generally, the human body produces an approximate amount of the anabolic steroids. However, due to their tempting anabolic effects, they are illegally abused by athletes as well as anyone looking for a quick way to gain muscle mass. This disrupts the nature and appropriate levels of these chemicals within their bodies. The users often overlook the negative effects of the unprescribed usage of these steroids. These negative effects include all of them. One extreme case of the negative effects of unprescribed anabolic steroids is Romario dos Santos Alves. After starting to work out, Romario injected anabolic steroids into his body for 3 years. His sources of these steroids were unreliable as these steroids were not prescribed by medical professionals. Furthermore, to experiment, Romario had taken numerous different types of steroids, including ones that would normally be only used on animals such as horses. Results? Well, the doctor said,
You have necrosis in your arms, so the only way is to amputate.
However, Romario got lucky, and the doctors were able to remove the stones that formed within his biceps without having to amputate his arm. Even then, Romario was left to suffer from depression. Romario's case proved how dangerous the misuse of steroids can be.
I told you, it was so bad. It's always terrible.
Well, that's not always true.
But you just said. I mean, I don't want to end up like that guy.
Well, due to the misuse of these anabolic steroids, today, steroids are assumed to be harmful. However, steroids, the right amount for the right cause, are certainly not harmful at all. Believe it or not, without steroids, eukaryotic life would not exist at all, because steroids like cholesterol are important components of eukaryotic cell membranes. Furthermore, many steroids are signaling molecules which activate steroid hormone receptors, which is crucial for communication within the whole body for various things, including immune function and growth. Without the presence of steroids, the body could not function. Doctors prescribed steroids to reduce inflammation, and to those who are unable to produce enough hormones to carry out important bodily functions. In today's world, due to illegal and uneducated misuse of certain anabolic steroids, a misconception has been created that all steroids are very harmful. Well, unprescribed consumption of virtually any chemicals or medicine can be very harmful as well. However, the truth of the matter is that steroids are a crucial component of our bodies and certainly are not harmful when the right amount of the right type of steroid is present in our body. Now, going back to the question, who's right, Jack or Tim? Are steroids always bad or are they always good? Well, what did we just learn from Duraj's School of Chemistry? Neither of them are right. Steroids can be harmful, but it's not always harmful because it can be very useful as well.